Welcome into the Michigan Football Report presented by BetQL. Head over to chatsports.com/MichiganQL. It'll drop you on the BetQL website. Use that promo code CHATMichigan for 25% off your subscription. They tell you what games to bet, rank them 1 through 5 stars, and they've actually got a 5-star bet on this Michigan Northwestern game, so I'll talk about that here later in the show. Pretty interesting thoughts on that game that they have with their analytical data. It's your Michigan football mailbag. First question coming in from Eastside Zach. Zach, thanks so much for the support here on YouTube, but also on Twitter. You always retweet when we put out a YouTube show or quote tweet and tag other people use hashtags, so certainly appreciate it. Thanks so much. He basically says, should Michigan be taking this bye week to get JJ ready to go the rest of the way? Cade's solid, but could he win a big games? We'll see, right? We've got a little more than a week until Michigan at Michigan State for him to prove a lot of the doubters, you and me, wrong in a lot of cases. I'm not sure if he's a championship-level quarterback. Reminds me of Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation with the Chiefs. But how about the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick situation in 2012 with one Jim Harbaugh as their head coach? They went to the NFC title game, should have won it against producer Marshall's Giants. There was a fumble with a punt returner, and then Smith comes back the next year. They're rolling. He gets hurt. They have a bye week. They switch quarterbacks. And Mahomes takes him the rest of the way, goes all the way to the Super Bowl, right? They had 4 snaps inside the 10-yard line to win the Super Bowl in 2012 with a backup quarterback. And very few times, and they happened with the Eagles a few years after that, but how often does that happen in pro sports? It's very interesting to think about. But let's dive into it, right? JJ McCarthy, people say, wow, he's the man, he's the future, and his talent pops off the screen. It pops off the field if you're in person for this game. He certainly looks the part. He reminds me of Drew Henson as a freshman, right? Reminds me of quite a few other Michigan quarterbacks that came in and you're like, wow, that guy has something different, and you can't wait to see him take over as the starter. But you can't bench a 6-0 quarterback, in my opinion, right? McCarthy's only thrown 14 passes this year. He's got 178 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns, which, frankly, were 2 of the nicest touchdown throws I've seen from Michigan in 10-plus years. But I don't think it's the right move right now. I think you've got to see if he's got a high floor, right? What I mean by high floor is the downside of Michigan, right? They're not going to go 1-5 in these last 6 games. Knock on wood, but we'll see. But the ceiling is not nearly as high as it is with JJ McCarthy. He can clearly make those throws that will win you a title, will win you a huge game. I happened to see a clip of Tua making that throw in the national title game in 2017 against Georgia in overtime, right on the money to Devontae Smith. I thought to myself, guys, that reminds me a lot of JJ McCarthy. Those are the kind of throws he makes. That was a true freshman to win the national title game. Cade McNamara wouldn't make that throw, right? It would have probably been tipped away by the defender. Could have been 3 or 4 feet behind him. So I don't think it's the case. But if they lose this game to Michigan State coming up on the 30th, then maybe you make a change. You've got Indiana at home, which Michigan should win that game. We'll see what happens. They kept it close with Michigan State. 5-point game last week. But maybe make the change then. All right, I'm going to let the coaches make the decision on that one. But I don't think you bench a 6-0 starting quarterback, a guy who might be 7-0 here in a few days going into a game like Michigan State, especially on the road, where Cade McNamara has proven 2 times in hostile environments against traditionally strong programs, Wisconsin and Nebraska, that he can get the job done on the road and win a game. But who do you guys think? Who should start at quarterback for this program? And I'm not talking about next year. I'm not talking about in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm talking about this Saturday. Next Saturday against Michigan State. Let me know down in the comments. I want you to type Cade if it's Cade McNamara, or type JJ. Be interesting to see. I'll pin this comment down below with the video. So go down and comment. If you hit with the YouTube ad break, by the time you type Cade or JJ and make your point, scroll back up, and you will be back after the ad break with more Michigan Football Report. And while you scroll up, hey, you just sat through that ad break, hit that subscribe button, right? It's free. Voted the best Michigan football channel on YouTube by my mom, but nevertheless, votes count. Don't get into that election fraud BS with me, okay? If the votes were taken by my mom, she was the voter, and we were won, it's as good as fact. So it's youtube.com/MichiganTV. Appreciate everyone who subscribed, supported the channel over the years, help us grow. Want to keep it rolling, so make sure you subscribe if you enjoy the comment. And hell, if you got your question on here, like this guy Chris Little, and you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you are waiting for. So thanks to the question here from Chris. I think that it's a great culture has appeared to. I think it's great the culture has appeared to change, but I still think we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get through the remaining schedule unscathed. Hopeful but skeptical. I see a couple losses, but hope they can keep them all competitive. And I think we all see it'd be very unrealistic to think Michigan's going to go undefeated this year. But I look back to last year's basketball team. That was an unranked team to start the season, and they got up to number 3 in the country for long stretches. They were a number 1 seed last year, if you remember. And this Michigan football team is starting to feel a little like that, right? That no one thought they had anything, and maybe you lost some players that were talented but weren't great locker room guys. I'm not going to make any accusations to anybody, but it feels like these guys are playing for each other. It feels like the coaches are a little bit more, better coaches, better culture guys than the last staff. So things get crazy. You beat Michigan State, you're rolling to Penn State with more momentum than this program's had in at least 4 or 5 years. And then if you win that game, you're top 3, 4, 5 team in the country. You're going in Ohio State at home, and you win that game, and you've got yourself an all-time season. So I don't know. I'm skeptical. I see Michigan probably losing 2 of those 3 big games to end the year, but I am hopeful, just like Chris, that they will surprise us and get a win in at least one of those and go 11-1 in the regular season, maybe 12-0. I mentioned BetQL at the top of the show. Go to chatsports.com/MichiganQL. Use that promo code ChatMichigan for 25% off your monthly subscription. It's $20 a month to get all of their picks for college football and the NFL every single week. That takes your bill down from 20 down to 15 with the promo code. And I told you I'd tell you this one. Pretty interesting. They've got Northwestern plus 21.5 as a 5-star bet. Northwestern plus 21.5. I hope they're wrong. I'm going to see if I can grab the over-under on this one. Ton of games in here to look at for BetQL, but I'll scroll through. Just sit with me here for 1 second, folks, if I can find it. No, there it is. They got the over 50 as a 1-star bet. So I think if you're going to bet it, go with the over 50, but they don't put a ton of analytical validation behind that. So what that tells me is, at least their model says, Michigan probably wins this one, but it's more like a 35-21 game or 35-17 game. Northwestern covers that 21.5 point spread, and they go over the 50 number. Let's take a look at Michigan's remaining schedule here on the year. It's Northwestern this Saturday at home. Then you got to travel on the road to a noon game versus Michigan State, number 9 Spartans. Then you're back home versus Indiana, an Indiana team that really struggled this year but was a top 15 team coming in the year. Their quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., hasn't played in a little while. We'll see if he's still injured. Not a ton of information out there. Then you've got the last stretch of the season, right? You've got the November games. Penn State, number 7 in the country. Will they have their quarterback, Sean Clifford? Tough to say. There's been rumors out there that he's out 4 weeks. That means he wouldn't play against Michigan. I'm not going to root for a guy to get hurt, but I'm not going to root for him to come back to play Michigan if he is hurt, right? Michigan clearly has a better chance to beat Penn State in the road if he is not playing, right? We'll see what happens. And then Maryland, great passing game there at Maryland. Got to be ready for that one on the road. And then it's all at home against against Ohio State, last game of the year. What fun it would be if you think back to the 3 biggest, most impactful games of this rivalry in the past 15 years. It was the number 1 versus 2 in 2006. It was the 2 versus 3 in 2016. And it was the Michigan favored in 2018, number 4 in the country against number 8 Ohio State, both one-loss teams. But what was the common theme in all those ones? Those games were all in Columbus, and Michigan lost them all, right? 2016 and 2006 were right there, 3-point loss. I guess it was also 3. Well, it went into overtime. I guess Ohio State ended up winning by 3 points, whatever it was. And then 2018, they blew Ohio State out. This year, if both teams hold court and they roll in, they both be in the top 5, I would guess, at that time. And one of these huge program and rivalry-changing moments would actually be in Michigan Stadium. That'd be cool to see for once. Maybe Michigan would use that home momentum, your cheering, my cheering, etc., to finally get a win against Ohio State. But predict Michigan's record. They're 6-0 now. You see the 6 games they've got there left on the season. Predict the record. I'm going to be a little bit of a negative Ned here and just say 10-2, but I will gladly eat my hat, figuratively, not literally, and say, yeah, you guys proved me wrong, right? No one could have predicted a 6-0 start after what we saw last year, and certainly no one was going to predict a 12-0 or 11-1 start. So I think they'll lose 2 of those 3 games, Ohio State, and then either one of the road games, Penn State or Michigan State. But hey, that'd be a good positive change to finally win a game against a top 10 or top 15 in Penn State or Michigan State on the road. But we'll see what happens. 6 more games to go until the end of the season. Predict Michigan's regular season record. Jack Deipenhorst, Is that a real name? Are you guys trolling me? That's a cool. I mean, there was a joke here in the show at Chat Sports. Someone put Jack Sherwood Lovehead as 3 names, and you say it fast, you get it. But we've got an employee here named Jack, so I'm just making sure I'm not controlled. Do Michigan and White State's wide receivers scare you? I feel like outside of Dax Hill, our corners will be in a very tough matchup. There was an article about these 3 guys here, Jaden Reed, Jalen Naylor, and Trey Mosley, in the Free Press a couple days back, last week actually, that was comical because it said, here's the man responsible, and there's a picture of Michigan State's wide receivers coach responsible for the best wide receiving group in the Big Ten. And come on, I mean, no one in their right mind thinks that it's a better receiving crew than what Ohio State has, right? I mean, their 5th wide receiver is the best wide receiver at Alabama this year, the 5th wide receiver from last year. So that was kind of comical, but these guys are making plays, right? Jalen Naylor, Jaden Reed, they are crushing it, 27 catches. But I think the most important thing down at the bottom of the screen, 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. Each of them have more receiving touchdowns by themselves than Michigan's entire wide receiver group has as a team, right? Michigan only has, 3 receiving touchdowns from the wide receivers, a couple from running backs, if I'm getting this correctly. So I believe Cornelius Johnson has all those. I'll check the stats, though. But this game's going to be intense, right? Michigan State relies on the big plays, right? From their running back who got stifled a little bit against Indiana. He didn't have one of his 2 big 230-yard games. But if they're not getting 50 and 60 and 70-yard touchdown plays from the running game or to those guys in the passing game, they will struggle to move the ball consistently. It's not a dink and dunk team. It is not one that you're going to see, going a 13-play, 75-yard drive over 8 minutes to absolutely control a game. This is a big play offense. If Michigan reduces the big plays, maybe give up 1 long touchdown, 1 70-yarder. But if you give up 3, you're going to lose the game. So don't give up that many. This game's going to be very intense. I hope a Michigan player goes out there at Spartan Stadium just like Devin Bush 3 years ago and just stomps on the turf and scrapes it out. I hope there's almost a brawl at the beginning of the game. This game's going to be intense. I'm going to be, taking beer cans and crushing on my skull as I get ready for this one. I hope you guys are too, but we still got a ways to go until that happens here coming up end of next week, Saturday, October 30th. BetQL has partnered with BetMGM to make sure you guys use their service. But if you're not, want to jump right into a new subscription service, that you are getting it risk-free by starting with BetMGM. Now, you've got to use that link at the bottom of the screen. I'll put it down in the comments, down in the description of this video. Chatsports.com/MichiganMGM. You'll land on a page. BetQL, BetMGM. You'll pick your state. If you're in Michigan, boom, right there in the center, you pick it, and then you sign up with BetMGM. You make your first deposit of just $10 or more, right? Once you make a $10 bet, BetQL emails you within 24 hours of your bet settling with a free 1-year subscription, $180 value. So if you want to get going with BetQL, let them know who to pick every week, know what games they have 5-star bets, do it, and then beat it at BetMGM, right? Get going with them, chatsports.com/MichiganMGM. Must use that link. Danny B, what would the Wolverines have to do for you to feel confident they will finally beat Ohio State this season? And I thought about this for a while, right? I didn't really know what to think about this one, but I just have an answer right here, and there's nothing else I can say. There's nothing that they can do prior to the game that makes me think they're going to beat Ohio State, because I've thought about that so many times in the last 20 years, that this is the year. No way Michigan can lose this game. It's at home, or they've got this player. It doesn't matter. Nothing they can do. They can beat Michigan State 45-10. They can go to Independence State, win 28-0. They can crush Indiana. They can crush Maryland. They can crush Northwestern. Whatever happens there, nothing is going to make me get super confident like I was in 2018 or 2016. Because I just know the story, right? I know what happens typically. I don't want to be the downer on it, but you're lying to yourself if you think, oh, well, Michigan's got this one in the bag because, hey, they're undefeated going into this game. The only reason they can change the narrative of this rivalry is they just have to do it. You've got to beat them for the talk to stop and for the rivalry to shift back towards Michigan's direction. Michigan dominated in the 80s, dominated in the 90s. They split in the 70s. But frankly, folks, the last 20 years have been unacceptable. Ohio State has completely dominated this rivalry, and for Michigan to change that, there's nothing they could do prior to the game. They just have to do it. We'll be back with more Michigan football news and rumors. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see. Till then, go Blue.